A lot going on for the busiest man in motorsports. We're going to go ahead and open the floor up for questions. If you have a question for Kyle, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll start with Greg Engel. Go ahead with your question, Greg.
Hey pal, welcome back to the madness. The drivers up there have been talking about the extra 100 and so pounds that are in these cars this year as opposed to last with the hybrid and all that, and how it's affecting the handling and different things. Have you noticed a difference in that since from last year?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I did at the open test, but I think in the time since then, I think our team's done a good job of getting the balance back to what would be closer to normal. So, so far this week, I haven't felt like a huge difference in anything. So, I'm thankful for that because I didn't feel that comfortable at the open test. So, yeah, it's been a smoother few days here to start for us.
Thanks, pal. Have fun.
Thanks.
Our next question will come from Nate Ryan. Go ahead with your question, Nate. Go ahead with your question, Nate.
Thanks, Matt. Kyle, I want to ask you about the schedule. Does it simplify things knowing that you're not going to try for the pole Sunday? And having gone through kind of this already last year, does that make it easier to kind of approach it this year, the back and forth? Or for you, is it just like you do this all the time, the jet setting around the country to race cars? Like this is just another weekend?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just feels like another week for me. If anything, it's a little easier of a week than normal. And then I don't know. I feel like last year was pretty simple as well for timing for the All-Star race, just because qualifying started earlier. So, um, you know, this year it's simple because the timing just doesn't work out, and I will not be able to do the fast six. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's still like you have to, you know, have a fast car to even have yourself in that predicament. So we'll see. We haven't made any runs yet in qualifying trim, so we'll get to do that here in a couple hours, and then we'll see if we would have ran into that or not.
Right on. Just thinking back on your career, like what's the craziest like travel week or weekend that you've attempted to do? Is there anything that sort of stands out in terms of like the times you've gone between NASCAR and sprint cars and everything? Is there like one in particular that you remember?
I always felt like when I would go from, and this is even back when I was just a car owner, but I've done it, I think once or twice as a driver too. But like the New Hampshire to Eldora for Kings Royal, it's always a tough one. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. We got done with our stuff at New Hampshire, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, and then you have a 2.5 hour flight to Ohio, then a 30-minute drive to the track, and I remember just being crunched on time, and the weather was not looking good at Eldora, so they were kind of rushing the program, and I hauled ass to the track and got there, as hot laps was going on. So that's one. But I mean, there's every year there's 1 or 2 weekends where it's either late nights or cutting it close to making it to a dirt race because practice and qualifying got done later in NASCAR. So again, this feels pretty normal to me this week and next week.
Right on. I think was Kings Royal 10 years ago the one where you got back to New Hampshire at like 3 or 4 in the morning or something?
Yeah, I guess it probably would have been going on 10 years ago. Yeah, that was not a good one. I got in trouble.
I know. Thanks, man. Good luck.
Yeah.
Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead with the question, Dustin.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Kyle. I think one thing that maybe gets lost with the all this double is this is an all-star weekend, and I'm just curious if this was a points weekend for NASCAR, how much more challenging would it be in the sense of missing the Saturday stuff and knowing you would be starting at the back of the field of a points race as opposed to an exhibition race that still pays $1 million?
I don't know because it's not. So I'm not sure. I'm sure the team owner would rather me, just run into the effects of a points paying race one weekend rather than two. But I don't know. I'm not sure how it ever was before either. So I'm glad I don't have to worry about that.
Hey, also, just what do you, I mean, again, you swoop into tracks all the time with limited practice or no practice. So, we saw what you did at the All-Star Race last year. How much are you at a disadvantage, or do you even feel you're at much of a disadvantage when you come in missing a practice or the qualifying? Because obviously you finished fourth, and you were challenging even last year up until the end of the race.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a good question. I'm sure it's some small, very, very small disadvantage, probably just for the first, few laps of the race. But we're all familiar with cup cars. So I think you could plug any of us in, without practice when the field has it. And by lap 10, you're going to be up to speed. So, yeah, I felt good about things last year, and last year is probably more of a disadvantage just because I hadn't made a single lap yet on that surface. But we were able to kind of move forward right off, the bat. So hopefully, if our car balance is good, today with Allgaier, we'll be good for the race on Sunday and have an opportunity to win like we did last year.
Is there anything you talked to Justin about, or is that just more with Cliff, and Cliff knows what you want and just plugs Justin in and says, we want the car to feel like this, make it feel like this?
Well, yeah, I haven't talked to Justin about anything yet, and there's not enough time to, even if you told Justin that, hey, we want the car to feel like this, get it like this, there's not enough time if it's off to probably get it like that. So still you're hopeful that it's going to just unload, good, and you'll be competitive. So yeah, I'm curious to see how today goes for those guys. I know we have a little different package than what would be normal for us on a flat short track. So hopeful that it's a benefit and we can start being more competitive on those style of tracks.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will come from Shane Connick, the Charter Observer. Go ahead with your question, Shane.
Hey, Kyle. So obviously you can't control the weather, but how does this throughout preparation and throughout just this process feel compared to last year? Why does it feel like it's a better attempt this year?
I don't know. I don't feel a whole lot different about it. I think this year maybe more than last year. Like last year, I mean, I was really focused on it all too, but I was also trying to like soak in the whole event and really just take it all in. Where this year, I've already done that side of it before, so I feel like I'm more prepared on what to look for in the car and how that should hopefully feel, and trying to be a little bit more aggressive on my cockpit adjustment tools that I have and all that. So like on the competition side, I just feel a little bit more just prepared because I've done it before and have an understanding of the feeling that I need. So I'm not sure if that answers your question a lot, but last year I felt really prepared as well. Just it was different, I guess, going around your first time.
And how cool is it just when you see the scope and stature just as kind of an event of the Indianapolis 500 now for the second time around, just being a part of it the way that you are, when again nobody experiences being in the race unless you're in it, and now already seeing it from just a new perspective almost in some ways.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's still, I mean, a massive event. Like I'm sitting on pit wall yesterday waiting to go out just for pit stop practice, and I mean there's still thousands of people here watching. I don't get to race any race ever that has the amount of people here just to watch cars go around the track, so by themselves or whatnot. So just that alone makes it feel like such a big event. So it's a lot of fun to be here and fun to see the fans and crowd get into it, and there's so many kids here too, which is really cool to see. Yeah, that's great for the health of racing and this event especially. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm thankful to be here.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Good luck this month.
Thank you.
And we'll head back to Nate Ryan. Go ahead with your question, Nate.
Thanks, Matt. Kyle, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a quote this week from Tony Kanaan in which he was talking about all the drivers who have gone back and forth between NASCAR and IndyCar, and he was, saying that he's done it once, I think, in a truck race or something, and like obviously Dario and Jimmy have done it, and he said like they're all great drivers, like everybody who's done it is great, but like what separates you from the rest is that TK said he's never seen anybody adapt as well as you and be able to just like get up to speed immediately. Can you address that? I mean, I know you've been asked this like 1,000 times, but is there anything you do to just keep it simple, or is that the secret to just adapting so well? Is there anything like that you can explain that makes you so good at just adapting quicker than some of the greatest drivers in recent memory?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think for me, I think it's just that I jump in a lot of different types of cars very often. So, all those guys you mentioned, they were pretty much committed to their, class of vehicle, once they got to that top level. And, I think that's good. It's good to stay focused on that and whatnot, but also, you just strictly learn the tendencies of that car. Where I think, myself going back and forth between sprint cars and stock cars and Xfinity cars and, trucks on occasion. And, it's been a while, but dirt late models, and now the Indy car, it's like, I think your mind becomes adaptable and you can, figure out new scenarios quicker. But I don't know. That's just my best guess, but I don't really know for sure. But it is cool, hearing guys like that, say great things about me, and it's something I've always tried to, pride myself on, is to be adaptable and be versatile.
Quick follow-up specific to this year, was the adapting to the heavier car with the hybrid this year, was that like immediate, or was there anything tricky about getting used to that?
Well, at the open test, I thought it was definitely different and felt different, and was concerned that, okay, I'm gonna have to completely learn something new, just because the balance of the car didn't seem comfortable. But this week it's all felt relatively normal. So I feel like I'm more comfortable earlier on into the few days of practice than maybe I was last year. So all has gone smoother so far. I feel like the team's been doing a good job. I don't really feel like there's been any major hiccups like we had a couple times last year during the practice days. So so far so good. Want to get our car handling just a little bit better, and then with that, hopefully find some speed as well.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will come from Jeff Gluck.
Hey, do you feel like you are being, that your fellow drivers in NASCAR are rooting for you in this venture? Like, do you feel like you're carrying the NASCAR banner, so to speak, as part of this? Like, you have their support?
Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody, and I haven't paid attention. So, I would say no, but, I know that's probably not true. I would imagine, you're always, unless you're a Penske driver, but even those guys are probably, wanting to see me do well. So, I don't know. I just, I left Kansas and came straight here, and I'm sure, like last year when I get to the All-Star race, that's when, people tend to, ask you more questions and quiz you on how the week's going and what's coming up next week and stuff like that. So, I would imagine that, I'm sure there's even IndyCar people, want to see, me do well.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Scotty Powell. Go ahead with your question, Scott.
Wow. Hey, Kyle, thanks for joining us. Just one quick question, and I know you've probably been asked this several times. What is the importance of running the Indy 500 and then the Coke 600 on Memorial Day?
I don't know. I think just for me, it's something that not many people have gotten the opportunity to do, and it's a challenging day of racing. So I love to challenge myself, and I've looked up to a lot of the guys that have, or some of the guys that have done it in the past. So and yeah, you want to you add your name hopefully to the record book somehow, some way, throughout it. So yeah, it's just a really cool day of racing, and thankful that I have a team owner with Rick Hendrick, who believes in me enough to give me an opportunity to do it. So I'm super grateful for that, and yeah, just look forward to the next a little over a week now, and hopefully it all goes well, and we can complete the double, and you'll live out a dream, but also try and do a good job with it.
Thanks, Kyle. Good luck.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions for Kyle? Kyle, thank you for taking the time. Oh, we've got Dustin Long getting in right under the white flag. Go ahead, Dustin, with your question.
Sorry about that, Kyle. I thought you were getting away. Hey, I'm just curious. You have done a lot of things, and so if you're a parent wanting your child to get into racing, your model is certainly one to follow. Obviously, whenever the greats do things, people want to do the same things and try to have that type of success. How do you see when you look at the dirt ranks or younger drivers, more people doing things like you, and how much of an impact do you feel like you're having on all of motorsports and setting a path for like what you've done and Christopher and some others in that sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like recognize it. You hear the last few years, I think, with some of the younger up and coming guys. I look at like Brexton, for instance, and Kyle, I think even mentioned it on Denny's podcast the other day, but it sounds like, although his route will be a little bit different than mine, as he gets, a few years older, but still, I think they kind of use me as the example of how to develop, a young driver, and being versatile and all that. So it's really cool. It is. It's a bit awkward, because I don't feel like I'm that old, but I feel like, I'm getting old now because people are, following my footsteps per se. So, but it is, it's really neat that a guy that like Kyle Busch, I look up to a ton, and think he's probably the most talented race car driver I've gotten to race with. Have a child, a son, and have him on dirt tracks and stuff, and trying to follow what my background of racing. So yeah, it's cool, and yeah, I don't know, I look forward to racing all those kids someday.
And still being able to beat them?
Oh, for sure.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.